Good afternoon, my name is Khadija Ali, and this is my Winter 2025 Project 1 for Technical Communication 3060, the summary of the Michigan Association of the State's Universities Fall 2024 Enrollment Report. Within my presentation today, I'm mainly going to be focusing on analyzing and describing the different trends that impact Michigan State's 15 top public universities. The association that released and conducted this research is the Michigan Association of States Universities, or best known as MASU. MASU's main purpose is to advocate for these top 15 public universities within Michigan. They do this in manners such as advocating through legislation, conducting research, and as well as collaborating with many different universities in hopes for better and more accessible higher education. The purpose of this report is to look at the different trends and how they're impacting each of the universities on an individual basis. However, remember, we need to also look at the general standpoint. We'll be looking at several different trends that include the total enrollment from undergrad programs to grad programs, as well as upcoming freshmen and new transfer students. However, let's ask yourself a question. Why do we need to look at these trends, and as well as how do they impact each university on an individual basis? We look at these trends in order to see what are some areas that we are continuing to improve on, areas of growth. However, we look at these trends to also identify what are some areas we maybe need to focus more on, areas of decline. Universities would not only be impacted through funding and staffing, but as well as the type of academic programs that they released to their students. These programs could include med programs to STEM programs and continuing. Let's look at some of the key highlights. On a general standpoint, we can see that the total enrollment has increased by almost 0.5%. From program to program, the graduate program is receiving almost 0.87% growth. This could be due to several different factors, but some of them could be that many jobs are requiring students to get a higher education, or students just want to receive a higher education. However, just because there's areas of growth, we also need to identify some of the areas we need to work on. For example, new transfer students are declining by negative 1.83%. That's almost 2%. For specific programs like undergrad enrollment trends, we can see that there are some areas that we are doing very well in and some areas we could work on. For example, for freshmen, we're actually declining, similar to the new transfer student, almost a negative 1.12% per school year. However, this is on a general standpoint. Some universities are actually doing much better than others. For example, the growing institutions include Michigan State University and the University of Michigan. However, some of the universities that are struggling are Eastern Michigan University and Lake Superior State University. What about graduate enrollment trends? As we mentioned earlier, from a general standpoint, it's growing by a 0.87%. The top growing school is going to be the University of Michigan Flint, with almost 7% of it increasing. Fiscal year equated students. Before we get onto the slide, let's maybe identify this term. This term means how many students are taking a full-time student or 30 credits per year. This is growing by almost 1.35%. The top performers are Michigan State University and the University of Michigan. Transfer student trends. As we mentioned earlier, this area is declining for several different types of schools. But why could that be? There could be several different reasons, and this mainly could be because of increased costs, competition from online programs, and reduced recruitment efforts. Some of the efforts for long-term improvement could include advocating for more recruitment or advocating for more marketing techniques to hopefully in the future improve this area. Institution performers. As we mentioned earlier, that just because on a general standpoint we might be struggling in one area, some institutions are actually doing much better than others. For example, Michigan State University and the University of Michigan have done pretty well every single year. This could be because Michigan State University and the University of Michigan are the most well-known public universities within Michigan. However, there are some other institutions that are struggling within this area. Eastern Michigan University and Lake Superior State University. This could be due to lack of recruitment or their marketing technique isn't as strong compared to Michigan State University and the University of Michigan. Long-term enrollment trends. We said just because the enrollment is increasing since 2023 by 0.57%, looking back to 2015, we're actually not growing as high as we would like to be. So in the long term, we're actually going to have to prioritize this area and contribute in many different factors to see how we could increase the total enrollment. Conclusion. Enrollment is increasing slightly, but there's still some areas of improvement that we could work on. For example, from new transfer students to upcoming freshmen, and as well as individual bases like Eastern Michigan and Lake Superior State University. Reflection question. I think the most difficult part of this project was that the report was mainly graph-based, and so it was a little bit hard to identify what I wanted to interpret, as every single graph could be interpreted in many different ways for each individual standpoint. As well as summarizing it into just a short bullet point was a little bit difficult. The aspect that was a little bit challenging was as well presenting this. It was a little bit difficult as I messed up on certain words and I messed up on certain things that I wanted to say or just how I wanted to persuade it to my readers. So hopefully in the future I would like to improve on that. Thank you.